Per usual, everyone else channels for educational purposes only. It's not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. Let's take a look at some altcoins. And the funny thing about alts is, for years, you've had people telling you it's an alt season, it's an alt season. And when alt season's actually here, you don't need anybody to tell you it's alt season. The moral of the story is most of the time, you're better off holding BTC as a large percentage of your portfolio. Following some minimal trend metric stuff will let you know, hey, maybe now's a good time, even on USD pairs, to take a stab, take a shot. And then you have times like this when you have massive outperformance. And this is why you're here for alts. No other reason. Let's be honest. You're here because you want to outperform BTC 2 to 5x. That's the goal. If holding alts in the down period doesn't give you that, then it doesn't make sense. So remember that moral of the story. Don't kid yourself. Don't become a community member. A lot of this stuff should continue to do well in the back half of the year. Bitcoin still looks great, consolidating up here at around 120-ish at the yearly pivot. Plenty of room to go on the technicals, plenty of time left in July when we have seasonality on our side here for a great month. I would use caution in August and September, just ahead of time, to have that mindset that maybe we don't see huge continuation in those months because historically we have not. And maybe we get negative 25% days on alts in August and September, just randomly for whatever reason. You know that's coming. Now, that isn't to say, hey, sell everything, go to cash. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, let's be realistic here. A lot of these alts have had really good moves so far off the bottom. But in any event, BTC looks great. MSTR still hasn't really broken out yet, still hasn't outperformed. And if you're smart about it, you're looking at kind of the only pair that matters right now, realistically, is ETHBTC, because if you're leveraging up on either side of that equation, some people like SBET, some people like ETHU, some people like MSTU. In any event, it helps give you leverage when you have momentum and directionality on your side. When you don't want to hold on to that is the past 8 months, right? The past 8 months for alts, for BTC, denominated leverage has not done well. So it's always important to keep that in mind. But yes, it's hard to throw a dart and miss at this point in the market. It's more about where are you getting more bang for your buck? Are you on a decently fast horse? I wouldn't be obsessed with trying to find the fastest horse each day. But like I said with MOG maybe last week, if something has run up 60, 80% in a week, maybe trim, maybe think about rotating that. But if you're in a selection of alts that isn't working here, even stocks that aren't working, then you really have to wonder what you're doing, right? Because a lot of stuff has moved quite a bit. I still like 600 plus for MSTR, just breaching the midpoint of the pitchfork there. There's a yearly pivot at 540, but I'll keep watching this. Obviously, it's fairly important to most people trading in this market. ETH has had quite the breakout from 2200. It stabbed that yearly pivot, and now it's even above the next pivot at 3,200. I don't need the cloud to tell me that this is bullish, but it's great to see higher highs. It's great to see regulatory tailwinds on Genius, Clarity, anti-CBDC, whatever, everything collectively, right? We're probably going to get staking in the ETFs. This is probably going to push ETH higher. I'm seeing lots of ETH people come out of the woodwork claiming superiority. I'd be careful about that because we'll get to it, but on the ETHBTC chart, they've been wrong for years, right? This is relative value, and I would keep that in mind. Yes, you can believe in something. Yes, there's a reason, aside from technicals, that this stuff's moving higher. But be careful drinking the Kool-Aid when the time comes down the road, probably 2026, when alts will start to do poorly again. You know, ETH could go to 10K. I think it's going to struggle at 5, but it could go to 10. In the immediate target for like July, I could see it going to 4 pretty easily. But at that point, it's going to be basically 4x from the bottom in, since April. So maybe use some caution on that one. Sol's another one that's starting to look better and better here approaching the yearly pivot. I think people who've missed BTC, missed ETH, missed everything, this is something to think about. Upside here's, I don't see it honestly getting past like 275 up there in the near term, but hey, crazier things have happened, especially on Solana. Many people are pointing out the Sol ETH chart just dying, right? So clearly that chart is telling you momentum is not on your side. if you're trading Sol over ETH. My retort to that would just be, well, Sol hasn't broken out yet, right? Like we'll see if it gets above 177. I have more ETH in my portfolio than Sol. I have more ETH leverage than my portfolio than Sol right now. So I'm fine with it. But we'll see what happens at 177. Collectively, this looks really good. It's got all the cloud stuff. I don't need the cloud on here to know that, but it looks good. You got an inverted cup and handle. You got a bunch of people talking about moving averages, crossing, right? Everything about this is bullish. There's nothing bearish whatsoever. This is dominance. It's curled down quite a bit. Still above, far above the 3-day cloud. You don't have a TK cross on this yet. And back to this original question of like, what is dominance for? Is dominance for altcoin maxis to try to trick themselves in trading alts when it's not the right time? Is it for Bitcoin maxis to say it doesn't make sense to trade alts ever? As a trading signal, it's difficult because even here, it hasn't made a lower low yet, right? And this is the bounce we're getting from alts. So even just a little bit of pullback, mainly ETH, let's be honest, has really skyrocketed everything. So if I'm truly being honest about alt season, it hasn't even started yet because that starts, that's like ETH from 5 to 10K or whatever, go down the list and 10 to 20x everything. That's what it's going to take for dominance to really get crushed like it did in 2021. So is it alt season now? I mean, if this isn't it, I don't know what is, but the point is it can get a lot crazier, obviously. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. Keep that in mind. Don't lose your shirt on 50x leverage when there's a lot of market left to trade. Looking at total 2, we talked about a breakout on the cloud last week. Bullish TK cross, price above cloud, bullish cloud. Good enough. Probably what I said at the time. Stablecoins also continue to print, most of that again being ETH as far as pushing the total 2 market cap equation higher. But it looks great, continues to look great. At some point, this is going to consolidate. And I think something to watch for is what's happening with the miners right now. We'll take a look at that. But at some point, we're probably going to get a partial mini consolidation, similar to honestly what we're getting on BTC, right? Now, there's a reason we're consolidating here because there's a massive seller coming to market, but I think we're close to that. Probably around, I don't know, 1.5 trillion or whatever it is on total 2. Whatever that is on ETH, we'll take a look. But maybe, I don't know, 3,800, 4,200. I think it's unlikely that we shoot through 42 on the first attempt. If I had to guess, we'd try to consolidate down there. This is total 2 against BTC stripping on stables. And again, it's inverse dominance. It still isn't bullish on trend, hasn't been for years. We can pull all the way up to the Kijun, as I said last week, and still be bearish. So technically, this is all just relative value mean reversion. Do you care if you're trading alts and making money? No, but again, like what is the direction of trend here for years? Down. Just important to keep that in mind. Maybe you are taking profits in BTC rather than USD here. When you're trading on leverage, maybe you're taking partial profit in BTC and partial profit in Fartcoin. Whatever you're doing, alts clearly have momentum now. But if you're on the medium to longer term plan, after these alts make their moves, if you're not rotating to other alts, maybe you just say, okay, I'm just going to buy more BTC, right? If you don't want cash, just something to think about. Because as you start to leverage your longs over and over and over again on, again, like treasury companies or just straight leverage, people really get lost in the sauce. They think they're a genius and then they lose it all, right? So it's important to have a little bit of a humbleness to it as these alts are moving higher. So this is coin, WGMI in green, ETH in red, IWM, Russell 2000 zombie companies in blue. And we have been talking about this for months, but coin led this, followed by the miners, followed by WGMI, and now ETH has outperformed IWM. And now ETH has outperformed IWM. The reason this was important is because historically these have had a very, very tight correlation. Probably because of what they represent, risk on sentiment, rather than what they are. It's a mix of crypto and crypto businesses and God knows what businesses, right? Just randomness, 2,000 random businesses. We'll take a look at the WGMI chart, but that chart looks to me ready for another leg higher. So it would make sense if, you can even see it a little bit on Coin. Coin had some consolidation here, went higher. WGMI has consolidation now. IWM is in consolidation now. So it's going to be interesting to see. At some point, all of this should echo partner, right? So we should see a consolidation again on ETH, probably 3,800 to 4,000 would be my guess. We're also seeing finally an uptick in NFTs. Not because I care about NFTs, but it's a risk gauge. Are people feeling good enough about the future of NFTs, even in the ultra near term, to start buying them again? And the answer is yes, they are. If we start to zoom out, this is Punks. That is a multi-month high, probably a multi-year high. Not quite. Okay, so I guess it was December 24 is the current high still. So this stuff is starting. Penguins as well. Huge move. That's a 2.5x move off the bottom in a couple of days. Not a yearly high yet. So this stuff is starting to get bought up. Starting to get bought up as ETH is starting to take off. Apes, same thing. Multi-week highs there, multi-month highs. Not a high yet from December 2024, 2023, right? Any of this stuff. Now, I personally wouldn't trade any of this stuff. It's not for me, but I just like to use it as a gauge for what's going on. Something else that's really interesting, talking about correlations and charts echoing each other. If I showed you this chart, you might be saying, isn't this the ETH chart? Isn't this what ETH looked like before it broke out? I think it kind of does look like that. And if we think about it again, like these charts all echoing each other, same types of people, same money, the same type of sentiment, trading all this stuff. This is the watch charts. If you're unfamiliar, it is a index of luxury watches. You can see on the 5-year, the 2-year, the 1-year. But the 1 year, it kind of looks like it's bottomed. Kind of looks like it's bottomed. Just another little interesting data point that, yeah, this is alt season. When did we see alt season last? I mean, we saw it back here, right? So it certainly feels like it with memes outperforming everything. This was Mog from a few days back. If I was trading anything fresh today, I would want to look at this exact panel. It needs to look good in all 4 sections here. It needs to look pre-breakout or ready for continuation in all 4 sections. That's USD, BTC, ETH, and SOL. I'm not saying MOG won't continue. It's moved up quite a bit. So I personally rotated into other things. I've moved on with my life. Doge, WIF, can't remember what else I bought. Pepe probably. Now here's WIF against those 4 panels. Against USD, it looks great. Ready to break out. BTC, excellent. Ready to break out. SOL, excellent. Ready to break out. ETH, no, it does not look better than ETH here. It's still below the cloud. And if this starts to make lows, that's not what you want to see. Now what you're seeing here is SOL beta, right? So it should outperform everything when everything else is up. But if it's underperforming ETH and you want to buy, I don't know, some other Pepe, right? Pepe WIF, maybe that's a pair to check out. But my point is, I would make sure that if you're trying to get the most bang for your buck, that you're shopping around a little bit, looking at these comparisons. If we go to some live charts and look at alts here, if we think about the actual end of the cycle, what we should see, what we've seen historically, is alts outperforming BTC enough to move higher than BTC on the market cap. So currently, I think if I'm reading this right, that would be over $1 trillion to just zero us out here on BTC versus alts, BTC versus total 2. And then it would take another, let's say, I don't know, quarter to $500 billion to actually push this negative. So my hypothesis is at the end of the cycle, what we should start to see is massive outperformance by alts, right? I don't know if we're going to get amplification. We went from 200 here to 500 here. Are we going to see a $1 trillion swing where total 2 is $1 trillion higher, $1 trillion higher than Bitcoin at the end of the cycle? I don't know if we'll get that far, but this has a lot to give back. Again, just thinking about like dominance in a different way. On a head-to-head basis, Bitcoin still is $1 trillion ahead of total 2. All right, ETHBTC, this is why everybody came. This is why everybody watches this channel for this chart. Return on the cloud, go to the weekly. What does it tell us? Well, it tells us we are far, far, far below the cloud, which everybody knows we are at levels last seen in 2020. Looked successfully to bounce off the bottom there. Next thing you'll notice is where is the key June? It is at 04, I don't know, we'll call it 041. We'll add a decimal place because why not? A lot of people asking me, where do I think this could go? Where do I think this could go? The first answer is always going to be cloud-based. So I guess it's not 04, it's 038 is the key June. We can also look at the 20, gotta find it here. Is it this one? No. There's a 1050. All right, so we're above the weekly 20. That's B bands, but this is certainly bullish. Don't get me wrong. Is it as bullish as it could be? No, that's above the cloud, right? So again, this is what we're seeing now is mean reversion. So I'd be careful with ETH maxi stuff till we're at least above the weekly cloud. So I could see a world where we pull to 038, which is quite a bit from here, right? This could be a great trade still. Maybe we bounce down, maybe we bounce around, maybe we squirrel around, and then we make our way through the cloud on the weekly. That's if 2026 is bullish, which we'll see. I don't know. But for right now, that would be my target, 038. If you look at these pitchforks, also similar, you know, we kind of had this parabolic move lower. After 2022, we broke the pitchfork continuously to the downside, so I had to keep redrawing it, right? So if we look at those old pitchforks, the midpoint of the bear fork from 2021 is about the same level, 038. And this bearish fork is also echoing the cloud and saying, until it's above 044 by February 2026, this could still be in a bearish trend. But yeah, it's going to have a heck of a bounce after this parabolic move to the downside. We can also measure this with fibs. We go to the daily, you can say, okay, there's the high, there's the low. We get the same number, same exact number, 033 to 039. So asking for any more in the near term would probably be too much. There's also a VPVR consideration there, but I could see it going there, easy. So ETHBTC looks great. One of the reasons why I bought a bunch of ETH this week was because it was above the cloud, and good things happen above the cloud, as we know. So ETHBTC looks great. Sol BTC, on the other hand, still below the cloud. Good candle today. What would pull me out of more BTC on the trading stack would be this pulling above the cloud. In reality, this isn't really what people are trading. They're trading something like this, which is maybe Sol against MSTR, right? What does that look like? Well, not as good to me. But again, maybe set some alerts here. Say, okay, I'm going to stick to MSTR or whatever until we see a clean break. So I would definitely just shop around and say, okay, let's look at some relative values here to make sure you're not stuck in something like this where you think, oh, Sol, yeah, it's got DeFi, it's going to get an ETF probably, all this other stuff. Yep, totally true. But what does the chart tell you? What does the chart tell you? Now here's Sol ETH, and a lot of people have pointed this out. This thing completely out of any bullish channel, right? Just death, right? Below the cloud, below the channel. Really no justification for Sol just yet. I would probably watch this on low time frames, and it just looks like a bottomless pit right now, right? Hourly, 4 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour. There's nothing bullish here. You want a pattern, you want a div. I do not see a div on the daily. RSI is probably the lowest ever recorded outside of FTX blowing up, right? But eventually you're going to get a div here, and that's going to be a better go signal than now. Like, yes, you could rotate from ETH to Sol, but this looks like you'd be buying a falling knife, right? Maybe give it a couple days to just assess what's going on. ETH we talked about, hit 3,400, looks great. Nothing there. Ripple could keep going. I don't see why not. It's tough because crypto's so tribal. It's like, people have been holding Ripple since 2020, or people have been holding ETH since ICO, whatever, and they're not going to care about everything else. But I can see continuation here. Why not? SUI also looks good. Bullish TK cross, price above cloud, breaking out. A lot of people asking about the SUI Sol pair trade, which probably favors SUI at this point based on what Sol looks like. Still looks good. Still favors SUI. But I would definitely keep playing the relative value game. We'll zip through some of these so this video isn't 50 minutes long. But AVAX breaking out of the cloud today. Looks great. Bullish TK cross, price above cloud, getting ready on the Kumo twist there. Definitely a consideration. I'll just skip the Doge because that's also in the mix. Same chart, same numbers. Where do you want all this stuff to go? It's always the same. I take the fibs high to low, gives you a value 40 to 50 cents. That's the previous all-time high, I believe, ish. Previous all-time high ish. And that's all I would do for now. I wouldn't think about Doge being used as a unit of account on Twitter or X or whatever, right? Like I wouldn't even go that far. Just say, what can you do for me in the next month? Link, similar in that conversation. Bullish, nothing bearish here. Massive W, measuring this, same deal. Nothing is different, always the same. Take the high, take the low. Could say, okay, this is just a run-of-the-mill W, fine. 25 to 32, previous high from 2024. Fine, right? That is a great trade. That is a 2x. Perfect. LTC, similar, trying to get above the cloud there. Nice little W. The difference between some of these and the rest of them is they have baggage in history dating back to ancient times like 2017. So if LTC can break out, there is a world where it could go to 300-400, right? And if you believe that, if you believe Sol's going to 1,000, don't listen to me. Just buy it, hold it, keep buying it. If you think LTC is going to 400, maybe instead of taking profits from alt trades into BTC or USD, you're buying LTC, right? You're buying some laggard moonshot that is fairly unexciting. Probably isn't going to see considerable downside volatility as long as everything is bullish. And it gives you that like bonus kicker, juice, hot sauce, right, for the upside. HBAR daily looks good above the cloud there. You can see some consolidation at this level. And it's going to be hard to find something. Ondo, even W, trying to get above the cloud. Maker's been kind of a disappointment, not going to lie. It's like XMR, it does better in a bear market. I still expect this to move a little bit on the stablecoin news. We'll see. I could be very wrong, but I'll survive. Still holding up pretty well, though, all things considering, just choppy, not really going anywhere. Algo broke out a few days ago and has continued. Looks good. Any of this stuff, I would just, again, take the high, take the low, assess the risk reward from here at current price, whether or not you think that level is attainable and whether or not it's worth actually getting in this. Would I trade this over Doge? Probably Doge. Would I trade this over Link? Probably Link. Would I trade this over AVAX? Probably AVAX. I like stuff that's fresh, where the train is still boarding, right? This looks like the train is maybe in the next town already. Isn't to say it can't do well. We know the direction of travel generally, but you may get a better trade elsewhere. ADA not quite above the cloud yet. Not really for me. Never really for me. DOT trying to get above the cloud, almost ready. So, again, like there's clear laggards here. There has been for a long time. TIA is one of them. And there's leaders like, say, SUI, ETH, Sol, say still looks fine. Bonk looks fine, right? So I'd probably pick 5, max 10, and go to town. Focus on those. Filecoin not quite ready. Looks like it's trying to break out. Flow, basically the same chart. ICP, basically the same chart. Matic trying to break out. Close. ARB breaking out. This is an ETH layer 2. Should do well as long as ETH does well. GRT trying to break out. TIA, even TIA moving up a little bit, but is it above the cloud? No. Are there other things that are above the cloud and doing well? Yes. Are there other things that are ready to break out? Yes. So no, I would not touch this. Just not for me. One diagonal to maybe watch would be that. If it can get into the cloud, hold that level, maybe come Q4, something to consider. I have a hard time thinking this is going to outperform anything in Q3. STX, fresh, bullish breakout. This is what you want to see. This over TIA, STX. This over DOT, STX, right? So I think you get the point. So unlike last week, where you were getting a cornucopia of options, you're getting an explosion of things on USD pairs that you can trade. Now, I would compare this, really what I care about is BTC. How does this look? Not quite ready, right? Not quite ready. Almost trying, getting there. Maybe set an alert at the cloud level, call it a day, and do nothing, right? Move on with your life. Velo breaking up, looks good. INJ also breaking up, looks good. So a lot of these charts, very similar position. The issue, unfortunately, for a lot of these too is, as we'll see, the meme coins have just exploded in percentages. So you can trade a meme coin, which is already leveraged BTC or leveraged ETH or leveraged Sol, and then add more leverage, and then you're leveraging your leverage and you're trading things like MSTU, right? But even these 1x layer ones should continue to do well. Near also above the cloud. FET also looks good. Ocean getting there. IMX almost there. Even my ENA bags trying to break up above the cloud. My average is probably 39.41, somewhere in there. I just held it through the downside. Again, where do you want this stuff to go? Take the high, take the low with the fibs. 72 to 96, something like that is what I would want from here. Curve has rebroken above the cloud. Lots of DeFi stuff has started to look good. I think last week we talked about Uni specifically. This one has continued to move higher. So there's just so many things that you could trade. This has started, Pith has started to break up. ETC even. Remember ETC? Even this has started to break up. And let me just check ETCG real quick. This is a grayscale trust that was heavily discounted just because we're in ETF season here. Assuming this data is correct, I still see ETCG at a 38% discount. So if you want a crazy trade, a crazy moonshot idea, you know, if we're bullish alts and we think it's alt season and we think ETC is bullish, maybe we see ETCG pull up again. There's another one, OSOL, which is the Osprey Solana Trust, has a 13 to 15% discount, and that's Solana. So there's some weird stuff to look for. Certainly, that chart looks phenomenal to me on the daily. Anyway, final few here. DYDX looks great, ready to break out. Rune, I wouldn't touch it because I think the chain is fundamentally flawed, but even this looks fine. All right, memes real quick. Doge looks great. We talked about that. SHIB breaking up. That looks great. Pepe breaking up. Bonk, huge move, huge continuation. With lagging, starting to break up. And Floki, big move today. So if you're not making this money in this market, maybe trading's not for you. I don't know who needs to hear that, but it is what it is. That's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.